This is not church. Got real quiet. Got my first amen. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate that. As soon as you guys are ready to roll.
To our nominees and guests in attendance, and to those watching live on the Oklahoma Sports Network, welcome to the 2022 Oklahoma Sports Network Football Awards Night from the McCaslin Ballroom at Cameron University in Lawton, Oklahoma. Now to your MC for this evening, the executive producer for the Oklahoma Sports Network, Eric Sherham.
Well, good evening, and welcome to our first OSN football banquet and awards night. We're here to honor our four nominees for Coach of the Year for 2022 for the football season. They are Jeff Brickman from Newcastle, Robert Jones from Dell City, Mike Dunn of Carl Albert, and Chalmer Wyatt of Elgin. You can give them a round of applause. Our four nominees for OSN Player of the Year: Tyron Amaker from Lawton High, Kanigel Thomas of Dell City, D'Angelo Irvin Jr. of Midwest City, and Xavier Robinson from Carl Albert. Again, you can give them applause. First off, I want to say a big thank you. A big thank you is not really a word that I can use to express my appreciation. This night would not be possible if it were not for the support that comes from our schools, first and foremost, where we have representation of all of our 11 schools in attendance tonight, and I thank you. Secondly, our advertisers who have supported us these many years to allow us to do what we truly love, streaming high school sports. And to think back when this all started 7 years ago with our first three schools. It was Elgin, MacArthur, and Lawton High. And now it's grown into the network that we see today and still growing. I hope that you are proud of being a part of us as we are proud of representing you. And that's why we gather tonight to celebrate together. There's a special page in your program. I want you to take a moment and see what I'm talking about. It's also up on the screen, some of these highlighted as some of the longest supporters, and we thank you so very much. I really can't put into proper words the great appreciation that we have in supporting us these past years. Thank you doesn't seem to be enough. But with that said, I do want to single out one supporter in particular. It was our very first to sign up. So if Boom Paws, if you will come up as representation for Mike and Julie. Thank you so much. Tell you a little bit about them, and if you've never had their hamburger before, we had one guy that actually was in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, says, I'm coming back into town, the first thing I'm going to do is go to Boom Paws. So there you go. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's called Our Legacy, and they've left a legacy with us, starting with us 7 years ago. In fact, when I say this, we came to Mike at Boom Paws 7 years ago with a concept of streaming high school sports, and I want to talk a little bit about that for a brief second. Because when I said streaming, and this is how we advance in technology so fast, when I said streaming 7 years ago, people said, no, what is streaming? Are you going to be like radio on the internet? No, we're going to actually show this like a TV production. Wow. I said, and then the second question, which we laugh about now, is how can I get it on my TV? Well, 7 years ago, this is literally what I had to say. Do you have an HDMI cord? Get your HDMI cord on your laptop and connect it to your TV. 7 years later, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, you don't have to explain what streaming is anymore, but they invested in us with a concept some 7 years ago. So let's give them another round of applause. Thank you. We'd never done any of this before, but they were willing to take a chance and invest in what we were doing and to get the word out about the best that they had to offer in the Elgin area. They have stayed and continued with us every single year. And so we wanted to present our first legacy award for such a person. I wish I could have the time for me to go over each and every one of you, but just know how special it is for me to have you support us and let us do what we love to do, and that you're here in attendance to help celebrate this very special night. I also want to thank Cameron University for their great facilities, a great meal tonight, their great support. We're one of their incubator. We have an office in the CETUS office there at Cameron University, and we're so proud to have that relationship. But now let's get on to the purpose of why we're here, to celebrate. To get this kicked off right, I want to look back at a small portion of what this year represented to us in the 2022 season that has so many great memories. How do you pick each one to review? There's just a few on the screen tonight. A great year that ended with one representing tonight with winning another state championship. We come a long way for the ride. We enjoy the ride with you the whole way, the ups and downs, and we have the best seat in the house for your successes. And this year did not disappoint. It was another great ride. So here's the recap of the 2022 football season.
But our goals, they stay the same with what we want to achieve, and we want to play week 11 and on this year. We'll go up Class 5A. It possesses a different challenge. New opponents, new places to go.
Or to throw down the sideline, Adasola. He's got it! He's got it! Touchdown, Elgin! Touchdown, Elgin! Michael Adasola!
What an absolute catch by Mike! Diving touchdown in the corner of the end zone!
You've got to see this one to believe it. Outstretched hands. The crowd goes nuts on the south side of Cameron Stadium with 37 seconds left to go, and a 6. Trace Laura connects to the corner. Touchdown, Elgin.
Wow, what a pass.
What a catch.
Around here, we've got high expectations, and we play to win a state championship every year, and so we always got to remind our guys that we're competing against the entire state of Oklahoma, even when it's just practice or a workout or whatever it is that we're doing. So
we focus on our attitude and effort, and that's been our motto all year. So we didn't change anything. We've been focused on how we practice, being coachable, being a good teammate, and then practice with a certain kind of physicality that's going to take to stop McAllister. They have one of the #1 running backs in the state.
Go again now.
Oh man, here we go.
All right, so here we go. Again, there's no more timeouts. It's a snap, it's a set, and the ball is up, and the ball is this time, and the ball is good, ladies and gentlemen.
Let him know, Stanley.
The ball game.
Let him know, Stanley.
Mr. Stanley does it again. Oh my goodness, ties the ball game at 26, 6 seconds left. Overtime. So the big southpaw kicker snaps down, the ball kick is up, and the kick is
All right, here we go.
good. Tied up. 17 on the game clock, and it looks like they're going to the sideline, so I think that we're going to probably go to an overtime.
Castro back in motion. Castro's going to get the handoff and get in for the 2-point conversion to tie this one up at 30. Oh, mama. Milton's going to look to the far side. He's pressured. He's going to be stacked back at the 43-yard line. That's how we'll end regulation and go to overtime. Here's the snap. Good. Looks good to me. Is it good? Yes, the Cass Bulldogs win this one on the Shane Feedback extra point. Oh, baby.
This time it's going to be a handoff to Robinson. He cuts back. He's got a little open room across the 40, the 50, down to the 45. He's different. He's going all the way. Touchdown, Carl Albert.
Hardy, with Jones next to him in pass protection. Going to flip the play. Drops back to pass. Looking down the sideline, says Amaker. They're going to go to Amaker. Tyron Amaker catches it. Tyron Amaker jukes as defender, loses the football. Picks it up at the 30-yard line. Spins around and is taken down in plus territory. God bless Mrs. Amaker. A long first down, and Lawton High's in business.
4-receiver set. Burke fake the handoff. Back to pass. Got some pressure. He'll step up. Man over the middle. He's got Shannon. It's deflected.
Oh!
It's caught! Off the tip, Jackson Shanuel catches the touchdown, and the Racers are an extra point away from tying it. Burt splits out, 4th and goal at the 1. Direct snap to Nix. The big man running forward. You're not going to stop it. Did he get there? We have a lot of hands in the air. Touchdown, Newcastle!
Big players make big plays in situations like this. Can number 10 find a way to do it?
Irvin to pass. Pass time.
Oh, he's got it open. End zone. Caught. Touchdown! Midwest City! Unbelievable. Threaded the needle. He had the man beat in the end zone. And what an adjustment and a catch. What do we say? Big players make big plays in big moments. And number 10 just showed his worth.
Make no mistakes about it. Life's like a book. And some books are longer than others. But books have chapters. And our seniors chapter is about to come to an end. Let's make it a good chapter at the end, right? At the end of the chapter, let's make it have a good ending for the last time you guys ever step foot on this football field. And then we move on to the next chapter, right? But I'm privileged to be a part of you guys. You know, I've always been a big believer in quality over quantity, and that definitely speaks to your class. There's not a whole lot of you, but man, you put me in a fight, but I love you guys.
The hair don't stand on the back of your neck for some of that stuff and some great memories. So we know that it's a special time to recap 2022. So it's going to be time for our live interviews, kind of very what I set the stage for what the Heisman Trophy winner does. They get all the nominees before they announce the winner to be interviewed. So it's time for our live interviews. And our first coach nominee is coach of Newcastle. So, Mr. Jeff Brickman, you'll be interviewed by our Newcastle play-by-play announcer, Josh Calloway. So if you gentlemen both can come up to the stage area. Coach, whatever seat you'd like, and Josh can pick the next.
Coach, how you doing?
Doing all right. It's kind of a gloomy Monday, but this is making it better. You know?
Absolutely, absolutely. You had a great speech there at the end of the video.
Do what I can.
Leader of men, Coach Jeff Brickman.
That's why I don't have any hair left.
There you go. First off, congratulations for being nominated for OSN Coach of the Year. I've been the voice of the Racers the last 3 seasons. I've seen firsthand the way those players play for you and the way you lead that program. So fitting that you're nominated for this. Absolutely. What's it mean for you, first off, just to be nominated for an award like this?
You know, it's different. I've never seen anything like this before for high school football, and what you guys do at OSN, you know, it just feels like it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm just glad that we were smart enough as a school district to get on board when you guys were kind of just getting going. But just honored and really don't have any words for it, to be honest with you.
It's a pleasure, first off, to broadcast your program's games. Recap the season a little bit. Obviously, another 7-win season, back to the playoffs. 2022, another good year, obviously, for the Newcastle Racers.
Yeah, you know, Coach Rose, Gary Rose, is here, and you know, I was a head coach at a different high school. My very first game ever as a head coach, I got to go to Carl Albert and play Carl Albert as a first-year head coach, and that was pretty intimidating. But
yeah.
Coach Rose and I became great friends, and whenever I took the job at Newcastle, I invited him to one of our first practices. And as most people know, when you take over a program, sometimes you got to rebuild it, and that's what I was asked to do. And the first thing Coach Rose said, he said, he goes, "The talent's not quite like it was at Southmore here, is it?" You know, and
yeah.
We kind of chuckled about it. And the work, there's a lot of work to be done, and we're not where we want to be, but we're well on our way. And this past season was just, another step forward in what we want to do. We were 7-3. We lost 2 games by, a couple of points. And just, as a head coach, you point your finger at yourself and you look at what could you have done differently to prepare the players to do, to get it done. The good news is we have 10 starters returning on offense and 9 on defense. And our incoming freshmen never lost a game in middle school, and I think the closest someone got to him was like 40 points. So Newcastle's a growing area. Our superintendent, Dr. Melanie Howe, is here tonight, and she's really flipped the culture of the whole community as far as, I've just got football. She has the whole school district, and she's done an amazing job there, and we're just looking forward to, I'm at the right place at the right time, and I think we're going to be really good for years to come.
Yeah, you read my mind. That's exactly where I was going next in terms of Newcastle. My time being around it the last few seasons is clear. Community very tight-knit, great fan support. The crowds every Friday night in the football season is packed out. How much does that help? Just having that community support, fans that are so loyal and travel to the road games and all that stuff. I know that certainly plays a big part in helping build a program.
Yeah, that's definitely the home games. Coming from, I was a head coach at a 6A school, and when we'd play a rival, we'd have 12,000 people at the game, but then we'd play, other teams, and, it's like crickets. It's just kind of how it was. And I was fortunate enough to coach in college a year at Oklahoma Baptist University, and decided I wanted to go back and be a high school football coach. In my mind, I just wanted to be at a place that was a one town, one team, and where the community rallied around one school. And that's exactly what we have at Newcastle, and they just pack it out. And the students are awesome. It's everything you'd want, like when you think about like Friday Night Lights in Oklahoma. So it's exactly like what you're saying.
Absolutely. One last one, and then I'll let you go. I want to ask about your coach philosophy a little bit. In my time doing your games, I've seen you win games throwing the ball all over the place, running down the other team's throat. I've seen you win with defense. You've won lots of different ways. Is that something that you pride yourself on, versatility in terms of, hey, whatever it takes, whatever our roster has to win, that's what we're going to do?
Well, I think I made a mistake my first year. Coming from a bigger school, we had a lot of guys that just played on one side of the ball, and we were going fast-paced, no huddle, scoring a lot of points. And I tried to do the same thing there my first year, but we only had like 50 players on the team. So I remember, one game we scored 70 points and lost.
Yeah.
Another game we scored 56 points and lost. And it took me a while to figure it out. It's like, well, these kids are playing both sides of the ball and they're just worn out. So defensively, they just can't do anything. They're just tired. So I went against my nature, and we started huddling and going really slow. and that helped out a lot, you know, with the kids being fresh. But now that our numbers are up again this past season, which you saw, we started going fast again on offense. But that's what you have to do as a coach. You can't be so hard-headed that you try to, you know, fit kids to a specific thing. You got to every year take a look at your roster, take a look at, you know, what you have, and I mean, all the good coaches do it. You know, build your program around what you have. Obviously, you want to have some stability every year, but at the same time, you better be smart about how you do it, or you know, you're going to be in trouble. You know, this year we had a first-year defensive coordinator, DJ Ward, from the Lawton area, that ended up coming to Southmore because his dad moved as an ROTC offer at Douglas, and he did an outstanding job with our defense. It's really a long story, but him becoming a coach at Newcastle is an amazing story. I've told Coach Rose about it before. It's just unreal. But as a first year, I've really, as a head coach, had a really good defense to go along with the offense. I think we gave up 14 points a game, and I give all the credit to him.
Well, Coach, there's no doubt about it. You have the program moving in the right direction. Really excited to see where you take it in the years ahead. Good luck tonight, and congrats again for being nominated for Coach of the Year.
Thank you very much.
You betcha.
Jeff Brickman, Newcastle. Our first of the 4 OSN player nominees is Kenigel Thomas of Dell City, with OSN play-by-play announcer Jordan Ray. We'll conduct a live interview as they make their way up to the chairs. So let's look at his highlights, some of highlights of Kenigel Thomas for this year.
Back to pass, Godwin. And he's moving outside. He's got a receiver way deep. It is Thomas. Thomas at the 20-yard line. He's at the 10. He will score. Eagles.
Godwin,
Across the middle, he's got Kenigel Thomas. 15, 10. Here's the 5. He's touchdown, Eagles.
just like that. Touchdown.
Godwin back to pass. He's looking deep towards corner of the end zone. Kenigel Thomas, touchdown. Now, you'll see the replay, Eagle Nation. It was go get the football. It's there for you, Kenigel Thomas, to get it. He got it. What he does, he's got trips up on the top. Backs offset to the right, single receiver down here on the near side. Back to pass is Godwin. And he's looking deep. He's got a receiver. It's Kenigel Thomas at the 40-yard line. He's at the end of the 30-yard line. Just throwing his feet down inside the 20. He's down at the 16-yard line, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, that's 3 touchdowns, man. That's man. You ready to go?
Nigel, how you doing?
Good.
That's a lot of highlights there.
Man.
Do you have a favorite?
I don't know, all of them. Just the whole season.
Whole season. I can tell by watching that and seeing some of the close-up shots of you. You had a lot of fun this past year. What made it fun?
I want to say the team, like my family, and like the coaches, and like how we practice every day.
Let's talk about coaches for a moment. Of course, your coach, Coach Jones, is one of the nominees, and I know he was second-year head coach, but he was with you as a defensive coordinator, and then also with you in track, correct? So what can you say about Coach Jones and how he's helped you get to this point?
I want to say that he pushes you hard, like 24/7, and like he stay on my top, like all the time. Like, he makes sure that you ain't never doing, like, nothing wrong. And, like, if you're doing something wrong, he gonna make sure he correct you. And it's not just, like, me, it's everybody on the whole team. Like, he makes sure he gonna correct, like, if you're doing something wrong and, like, just, like, help you understand, like, help you grow as a young man.
Yeah, that's terrific. And you, I think, became more involved as an offensive player this year, even though, you know, your calling card is a defense as a cornerback. Would that be correct?
Yes, sir.
How do you make that improvement as an offensive player? Because that was kind of a new something new we saw this year.
Hard work. That's really it.
That simple. And, you know, you're going to Kansas State, Big 12 territory. What made you decide to commit to Kansas State, and what makes you excited about being a Wildcat?
I want to say that it was like the way they recruited me. Like, all the other schools that recruited me, they really wasn't like trying to get to know me and like learn who I was and like actually like take their time out to know me. And like Kansas State, they actually took their time out. Like, it wasn't just like they see me or see my highlights and they just offered me. It was like, okay, we're gonna watch your highlights. We're gonna see who you really is and like where you come from and like what he actually does on a day-to-day basis. Like, they talk to me 24/7, like just to know me. And like I went to their camp and actually had to prove myself, and that's what I like. Like, I actually had to prove myself to them. I don't want nothing just to be given to me, so that's why I chose Kansas State.
All right, can't wait to see how you do there. And also, I mean, you're now preparing for track, is that correct? Because I remember Coach Jones would tell me last year when I would talk to him frequently is how you were also a track star. What are your events?
All the relays. I don't know. I can run anything for real, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, so I asked you this in August. Any chance you might want to run track in college, or is that, you said no to that, is that still maybe a possibility?
I want to, like, just to work out with them, though. I don't know if I run the events, they too fast.
Well, you're a state champion in that, so I think you could, but I don't know that much about it. I do know this: you have played against the other nominees, Amaker, DJ, Xavier. So what does it mean to be with them as a nominee for Player of the Year on OSN?
I want to say it's a great feeling. I'm honored and thankful for everybody that's like put their time in for me, and they're great players too. So I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, we deserve to be here. All right, Nigel, thank you.
Nigel Thomas, representing Dell City. I want to recognize at this time our first award of the night, and it's our fan vote for OSN Coach of the Year. And to present this award, OSN announcer Matt Lewis.
It's my pleasure to award the Fan Favorite Award for the OSN Coach of the Year. Starting at the end of the regular season, fans were encouraged to go and vote for their favorite nominee. All 4 candidates' name and image was placed on the website until Christmas Day. The polls closed. There were well over 100,000 votes cast for the 4 nominees. The 2022 OSN Football Coach of the Year is selected by the fans with over 50,000 votes, Chalmer White of Elgin.
In order for me to give this to you, you got to say something. So I hope you've practiced your acceptance speech.
Thank you. This just goes out to our community at Elgin. You know, I just can't say enough about those guys and our community, our parents. You know, come out and watch one of our football games and you really get that small town Friday night feel in a larger classification now. So again, thanks to those guys, thanks to our parents, our community, our school, and everybody else that voted. Thank you guys.
Our second Coach of the Year nominee is Robert Jones from Dell City. Make his way up, and Kirk Norman will be interviewing. Notice the coach don't have highlights. Got to work on that. I got some shots of them on the sidelines, but
this seat is comfortable.
Oh, it is.
I like this. Well, I'm old, so I brought notes. Those younger guys, they just didn't have any notes. But so, Coach Jones, first of all, congratulations for this nomination. We're so glad you're representing Mid-Dell and Dell City. Sure. And just a little bit about you. You graduated in 2001, so everybody can do the math and figure out how old you are.
21.
That's right. You won 2 gold balls, and you were named to the All-State team.
Yes, sir.
So you've been on the gridiron for a while.
Yes, sir, I have.
All right. So last year, your team went 9-2. You took over as head coach.
Yes, sir.
Made it to the first round of the playoffs. This year, 9-3. So that seems like a trend.
Yes, sir.
All right. So what do you attribute that trend to?
Well, you know, it's a lot of different factors that goes into having success, and that's in anything in life. And, you know, it first starts with my mom, you know, and the foundation that she gave me. And then, you know, I look in the audience and I see a lot of different people that played a role in it. You know, I see Coach Goff and Coach Rose. You know, being a senior in high school, I bet I would have never thought I would be on stage being nominated for a Coach of the Year award with two of my great coaches and mentors in life sitting in the stands. So that's a blessing. And then you got Coach Dunn who helped me come here from Texas, and he's sitting here and he handed me the program in great hands. And you got Andy Collier sitting out there. He also played a great role with me getting this position. And then my coaching staff, the role that they play. And then, you know, I have my great friend Tony Johnson as well and doing my talk show. So anytime you have success, it's a lot of different factors and a lot of different people that play a role. And the athletes that we have at Dale City, everybody knows we have speed, everybody knows we have athleticism, but one of the things we pride ourselves in is character and character development, and our kids have fully bought into that. And not only are they buying into it, they're turning it into actions, and you can see that with Nigel up here on stage. But, you know, we really buy into CDEP. It was on the back of the jersey that you saw on the screen, and it's our 5 pillars, and that's we want to be committed. We want our kids to be disciplined and have effort and give pride and be a tough person. And I think our kids have really bought into that, and you mesh that in with the athletic ability and the speed and all the thing that comes with the athletes at Dale City. And I think we really got a great culture, and we're building something great.
Absolutely. So talent and character.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, you answered my second question. That was talent and character. So
yes, sir.
Your team had 2 regular season losses in overtime.
Yes, sir.
By 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you knew I had to bring that up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I'm sorry.
I apologize. Every day. Trust me, I think about it every day.
I apologize for that. So those type losses can be gut-wrenching, but they can also be a gut check for the whole team.
Absolutely.
So tell me how you use that and how you're going to use that in the future.
Well, you know, every program and everybody going into off season, you always want to finish. You want to talk about finishing games and how you should focus on details. And unfortunately, we didn't focus on details, you know, and it started with defense, and that's what my name is tied to as a head coach. And we didn't finish the deal. You know, you never would ever think you would lose 1 game in overtime on a 2-point reversion, but to lose 2 games in overtime to 2 number 1 ranked teams, it was gut-wrenching, but it's a lesson in that. You know, we've been using that all offseason, focusing on details, focusing on doing things right all the time consistently, and control what you can control. And that's your attitude, and that's your effort, and that's what you give on a daily basis. So we're using the lessons in those losses. And also, a lesson that I learned is maybe I need to go for 2. So, because they had the second possession, and, you know, they both went for 2. And I've always, you know, me and Mike have joked about this at times when we were coaching together. I'm a traditional kind of old school type of person. I would always kick the field goal or PAT, but in the future I might have to go for 2 dealing with those situations. So we learned a lot from that situation and being in those, and you could take a lot from losing in those type of games. It's really character building, and to go on into the season and finish the way we did, I think we learned a lot from it.
Absolutely. I mean, you bounced back strong from both those losses.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So I've spent a little time around some of these old coaches that are over here, the ones you've been talking about, and they love to brag on great players.
Absolutely.
And so how would you describe Nigel Thomas?
Well, you know, Nigel's a special player, and, you know, Coach Rose and Coach Goff coached at Dale City, Coach Dunn. Dale City has had tremendous athletes back to Benny Butler, Mike Woods, Paul Dorn. I can go on and on with the players that I had. And, you know, for Nigel to be to have the most starts in varsity history in Dale City, that kind of shows you what kind of player he is. I'll never forget the first time I seen Nigel, it was his freshman year, and we were kind of having some depth issues at defensive back, and I seen him do a drill one time, and I just kind of knew it. You kind of know when you see him. You know, I played DB, but you kind of know when you see him. And when I saw him do the drills and the way he carried himself,
I knew we had a special player, and he was like a coach on the field. You know, when you start over 30 games on varsity, or by the time you get to your senior year, you're seasoned, you're a veteran, you understand what it takes, you've been in those pressure moments, you know how to handle yourself, you're real composed, and he had all those characteristics, and not to mention he's fast. I mean, he's a pretty fast kid, and he was very humble up here on stage when he talked about track, but you know, he should be competing for state titles in track, so that kind of played into it. But for him to be able to be a coach on the field and be able to help us in tight moments, he played a big role for those younger kids, and not only that, the seniors in his class, and then to be able to make the plays when he did. Anytime we were in a pressure moment in a big-time games, you know, this year we played 5 ranked teams that were #1 at one point in time, and he made big plays in all of those games. So to have that type of player as a coach on the field, speed and the athleticism that comes with that, and to have the character that he has, he was a special player that I would always remember.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's always fun to coach special players.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So the last question, and this is totally off the cuff because I didn't let you know this was coming.
Yes, sir.
So you are actually, you've taken over a program from another coach who kind of got it off the ground. You were there with him.
Yes, sir.
But you're actually changing the whole culture of your community.
Yes, sir.
Through athletics at a high school.
Yes, sir.
How do you do that?
Well, I think first you have to grow up in that type of experience. For me personally, I grew up in Dale City. You know, I went to elementary school from 1st to 6th grade and went to middle school there. So I kind of know what the style of kid that we have. And I think sometimes Dale City gets the wrong image.
Absolutely.
And get the wrong perception. But we have great kids, you know, and they need some tough love. And you heard Kanaja said it, I'm tough on them. And that's what they need. They don't need people feeling sorry for them or people want to bring up their home lives or what they're going through. When you walk in the building, it's a standard, and you're going to commit to that standard, and you're going to do what the standard is. There's really no gray area. So I think if you just really love on each kid and you treat each kid the same, that's how you change the community. And I think you do it one kid at a time. You don't try to build Rome in one night, and we're building each kid one day at a time, and I got a great coaching staff and great parents that are bought into what we're preaching, and it really starts with CDEP. And I know it sounds simple, but those 5 words have really brought a life into the community and to the kids, and we really believe if we can change the core of the football team, we feel like we could change the culture of the school, and that'll bleed into the community, and it's really happening at a blazing rate that we didn't expect, and I'm excited about the future of it.
Absolutely. Well, thank
Yes,
you. And
thank you.
That's why you're being honored this evening. So
Thank you. I appreciate
so much.
it. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Coach Robert Jones from Dell City, one of our nominees for Coach of the Year. Our second featured player nominee is Tyron Amaker from Lawton High. As they make their way up to the interview section, we'll take a look at some of his highlights from 2022.
Already thrown for 2 touchdowns. Hardy going to drop back to throw again. Quickly over the middle. Has a man for a first down and then some. There he goes again. Devarius Hardy just threw his 2nd touchdown pass. He's going to drop back to throw over the middle. Has a man intercepted. Intercepted by Lawton High. They're going to go down the sidelines again. That's Tyron Amaker who can get in for the hat trick and does. Touchdown Tyron Amaker. His 3rd score of the day.
My goodness. I mean, he's just like Superman coming out of the sky, jumped in the way, and
Hardy on the hard count now gives to Jones. No play. Action pass. Going to go long. Has a man. It's caught by Tyron Amaker for a touchdown. Devarius Hardy runs the play action to perfection. Tyron Amaker's there for the score, and Lawton High takes a 6-0 lead early. Hardy dropping back. Pressure coming. Pump fakes once. Throws over the middle. Has his man. A great catch by Tyron Amaker. And Tyron Amaker has plenty of green grass ahead of him, and he's in for his 2nd touchdown of the night. Lawton High takes a 13-0 lead early against Putnam City, both with Hardy connecting with Tyron Amaker. Hardy with Jones next to him in pass protection. Going to flip the play. Drops back to pass. Looking down the sidelines has Amaker. They're going to go to Amaker. Tyron Amaker catches it. Tyron Amaker jukes as defender, loses the football, picks it up at the 30-yard line, spins around and is taken down in plus territory. God bless Mrs. Amaker. A long first down, and Lawton High's in business.
But I was impressed by the highlight film. Tyron, talk to me a little bit. You've got a really good story of how you ended up here at Lawton High. Talk to us a little bit about how you got here from where you started.
Grew up in Louisiana for a little bit, and then we moved down here when we had nothing going good for us there. And then I started my first sports at the Boys and Girls Club with my coaches back there, with Coach Hardy and Coach Hinton. And then I had my uncle stand on me about the sports-wise and stuff. So, yeah.
Great story. Okay, so you played several different positions for Coach Breeze at Lawton High, receiver, running back, defensive back, even some quarterback at times. What's your favorite position and why?
I love to play receiver, so I can get somebody on the island, just kill them there.
When you had a good year this year, 42 catches, 908 yards. I also had 70 rushes for 488 yards. I put you over 1,000 yards for your career for both those categories. You also had 21 touchdowns this year. So what made this such a great year for you at Lawton High?
We just came out hard every day, expecting to win, and not taking it light on no one.
Okay, and you're not a one-sport guy, right?
Yes, sir.
So you play basketball currently, getting ready for the playoffs in basketball. You also run track, so double-double guy in basketball, and from what Coach Breeze says, 22-foot long jumper in track.
Yes,
so what's your favorite sport?
I'd say football.
Still football?
Yes.
But you're excelling in those other sports as well.
Yes, sir.
That's great. Talk to us about your favorite memory while you've been at Lawton High.
Ooh. I would have to say when we played against Putnam City Original, a little scramble drill. I got on the little sideline, got me a little toe tap, got the crowd going and stuff. Momentum.
Gotta love that. So talk to us a little bit about your future plans. What's next down the road for you?
I plan to go to college and play football and maybe basketball too.
Do you have a front runner? Where you leaning toward?
Secret.
I could get it out of you tonight. Come on. Okay, the final question I have now. I got some insider information. So I called Coach Breeze and talked to him a little bit, and he said he gave me a lot of good information. He said, "Great kid, hard worker, does everything you want him to do on the field." But this may be hard to believe because you know Coach Breeze. He said one thing that stands out is that his mama is probably the best cook in Lawton. What's your favorite meal that your mom prepares?
Gotta go fish and macaroni.
Fish and macaroni?
Yes, sir.
Can I get an invite to the house sometime?
That's tough.
Is Coach Breeze there? Has he ever been over?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Tyron Amaker.
Now to present the OSN Fan Favorite Player of the Year Award, OS announcer Levi Tovar. If Levi, you'll come up here.
All right, it's time now to award the Fan Favorite Award for OSN Player of the Year. We encouraged all our fans to go and vote for their favorite nominee. All 4 candidates' name and image were placed on our website at the conclusion of the regular season, and the polls closed Christmas Day. So, the 2022 OSN Football Player of the Year is selected by you, the fans, with over 48,000 votes, Mr. Tyron Amaker from Lawton High.
Did you ever have an acceptance speech before? All right.
First, I want to thank the man upstairs, God. And then I want to thank my family, my coaches. You know, thank you for getting me here. And that's really it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're talking to one of our supporters, United States Air Force. They wanted to do something special. Called me up and we talked about it. And they wanted to do something that promoted academics as well as achievements on the football field. So we had each school submit their candidates with the best GPA on their team for the season. And all 11 are listed in your program, as you can take a look. Now to present the United States Air Force Academic Award, it's my pleasure to introduce Sergeant Romo from the United States Air Force. Much.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us. My name is Sergeant Romo. I proudly serve as the Air Force recruiter for the Oklahoma City and surrounding areas. Joining me tonight is my distinguished guest, Lieutenant Colonel Brian Ewing, commander of the 349th Recruiting Squadron at Tinker Air Force Base, and his lovely wife. Thank you for joining us tonight. All right, tonight we're here to recognize the Air Force Academic Athlete of the Year. The dedication and commitment required of our student athletes fully embodies the 3 Air Force core values of integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. Integrity is doing what's right and pursuing excellence when no one else is looking. Every day, these athletes have determined this in their life, in the classroom, and in their athletic pursuits. Service before self is demonstrated through outstanding leadership, putting the needs of the team above their own desires. These selfish young athletes know what it takes to prioritize the team, the mission, the goal above everything else. They show up to practice, giving it their all each day, and still going home to finish that last bit of homework. Excellence in all we do, inside the classroom, around our community, and on the field of competition. This young man has represented all of the qualities that I have mentioned, and it is my honor to present the first annual United States Air Force Student Athlete of the Year to Heath Sperry from Yukon High School. Go Millers. Congratulations. Now, Lieutenant Colonel Ewing would like to say a few words.
I think before I say a couple words, Heath, did you want to say anything? I mean, that's quite an accomplishment. So,
thank you to the Air Force for giving this to me. Thank God and my family, and of course my teachers for teaching me.
All right, guys, so I just want to say a couple words because this is a unique sponsorship, a unique partnership, more importantly, that we've formed here with OSN and the United States Air Force. Before I did that, I want to point out a couple things because, one, they gave me a microphone, and two, I've got a captive audience, but mostly because I listened to some inspiring words from coaches and players. By the way, I'm actually living in Nashville, Tennessee right now, and this was so important to us that I drove all the way with my wife back there on her birthday to make sure we made this. So, yeah, so actually thanks to her. But I wanted to thank the coaches. You know, Zig Ziglar said once, he said, in 5 years, we're going to be exactly who we are today except for 2 things. That's the books we read and the people we meet, right? And that's the people in this audience, the people that these players are meeting, their lives are being impacted through the coaches, the teachers, the parents. You guys are truly making a difference in the people that are going to become adults tomorrow and are going to lead our nation. So I think the coaches, Coach, you were talking about, you know,
you're talking about character, and you're talking about chapters in their life. And I love what you're doing in your community because, one thing we do as recruiters, we go into our communities and we ask the moms and dads to give us their sons and daughters. And it's never more important than today to make sure that when we get these young people, that they are people of character, and we're giving back to our communities as well. And that's what this partnership allows us to do. So thanks to your coaches. The parents, holy cow, you guys are allowing these coaches to take your kids, to yell at them, to love on them, to make them better people. And so if there's any parents in the room, can we give them a round of applause for allowing them? Because the thing we've realized both in the military and with these players is we're all going to hang up our uniform one day, right? But what are we going to do with that next chapter? And we're all going to resort back to what we know. We're going to resort back to whatever's deeper inside of us. And so coaches, parents, the staffs, you guys are making these people what they're going to be tomorrow. So we know they're in good hands and they're going to be better people tomorrow. So with all that being said, I did want to recognize, Eric, you guys have been such great partners. I want to present you with something. We have in the military, some people call it coins. I don't call it a coin because in the military you have to give everything an acronym. So this is a RMO, round metal object. So the rules of the RMO are, I'm going to give this to you. This is my commander's coin. First one I've given out in this squadron. And the deal is, next time I see you, if I have mine and I present it and you don't have yours, you owe me a drink of my choice and vice versa. So congrats on everything you've got going here, and thanks so much for the partnership.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. In addition, it's in your program to having high academics with the OSN family. We also want to congratulate, again, the Elgin Owls in your program. You'll see them being honored as the Class 5A academic champions. Congratulations. Let's give them a round of applause. I always said we have some of the best schools that are represented each and every year on the Oklahoma Sports Network, and we're so proud of all your accomplishments. Now to introduce tonight's keynote and guest speaker for the evening, Mr. Mike Newell, who had an interview earlier. Well, if Mike, you'll want to come back up with our special guest of the night.
Our guest speaker tonight is Coach Gary Rose. You've already heard a lot about him. Coach Rose got his start in football as an 8th grader at Cushing, Oklahoma. He was an all-state offensive and defensive lineman at Shawnee High School. Then he played collegiately at East Central University in Ada. His coaching career started in 1974 as assistant for Del City. While at Del City, he also coached boys and girls swimming. In 1995, he was named head coach at Carl Albert. During his 22-year career at Carl Albert, they, and this is a long list, never missed the playoffs, made the quarterfinals 17 times, won 10 state championships. Now, if you do the math, if you played 4 years for Coach Rose and the Titans, that means you would have won at least one state championship, everyone who played for him. He finished with a 219 and 61 record and was named Big All-City Coach of the Year 4 times. Oklahoma Coach Association Coach of the Year in 2007. He was recognized to the East Central and Shawnee Football Halls of Fame. He was selected to the Oklahoma Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 2014. In 2019, Carl Albert named the football stadium after Coach Rose. Since he retired in 2017, he spends his time traveling, fishing, gardening, biking, and reading. He enjoys spending time with his former players, fellow coaches, but most of all with his wife, children, and grandchildren. It's my pleasure to present our guest speaker, Gary Rose.
Thank you. Do I have to hold this? Yes, I do. My wife wrote that. I didn't write it. Well, I've already heard exactly what I wanted to hear and thought I'd hear from just the men that have been interviewed and the players that have been interviewed. And I have a talk, and it's about a seed. I have a word, it's called matter. And at the end of this talk, I'll have a word called wonder. So Coach Goff asked me Wednesday, he said, I heard you're going to talk. He said, what are you going to talk about? I said, I'm still cogitating on that. And I got home, and I had a magazine that came from an organization that I read a lot of. And on the front of that magazine was this. I'm going to read this more than once. Though I do not believe that a plant will spring up where no seed has been, I have great faith in a seed. Convince me that you have a seed there, and I am prepared to expect wonder. Well, guess what? You've already heard wonder tonight, haven't you? I'm sitting over here going, this is wonderful. So my seeds are, my talk's about a seed. Well, every seed, if it's taken care of, it gets put in the ground and it sprouts. So the seed always becomes a plant if things go well. And then that plant becomes a seed bearer and produces more seeds. My talk is directed at football players and coaches. And there's quite a few of those in the room, but I don't want you to feel left out. But really what I want to say to them really fits all of us, every one of you. So I'm going to call the names here a little bit. D'Angelo, Canigel, Tyron. I know X isn't here, but Mike, you can tell him. This is about you. I invite you to take some time and think about how you got here tonight. Chalmer, Jeff, Mike, Robert, all good friends. I don't know you yet, Chalmer, but I probably will get to someday. This is about you. And all the coaches that are in the room, there's a whole bunch of my friends here. Who planted the seed? What was the seed? And what happened? Now that's going to be true for all of you, but I'm going to talk to coaches and players. All of you had seeds planted in your life, and you've become a plant. I hope you have. You have. And so I want to ask you if you're producing any seeds, then I want to ask you what kind. And I'm a storyteller, so I'm going to tell you a story. I haven't got to tell this story in a large group. I love telling this story. I think maybe you'll get it after I start telling it, but there was this slow, soft, big 8th grader that went out to football. His first time to play competitive football in Cushing, Oklahoma. And one day at football practice, maybe after a game, that big, slow, soft, and I was big, you won't believe this, you know, they said I played offensive line in college. I did. I asked football teams when I speak, what do you think I played? Defensive back? Receiver? No, played guard. This coach, for some reason, I'm going to use some real special words here, and I've already heard them tonight, which makes me thrilled to death. But I want to ask you as men and women of family, of education, of business, military, it doesn't matter what you're in. Coach Lee Cobb bragged on me in front of the whole 8th grade football team. I don't even remember his exact words. I just know that the feeling I had inside was of, oh, I can do this. This is football. At the same time, I was in 8th grade. I remember 2 teachers, so I hope there's teachers here. I had a speech teacher named Mrs. Bondurant. Only 2 names I remember from Cushing, Oklahoma were Miss Bondurant and Coach Cobb. Well, guess what Miss Bondurant taught? Speech. And I was horrified to be in front of people talking. Well, something happened there, that's for sure. So when Coach Cobb said that to me, Here's how I describe it. I'm going to read this because I want to get this right. It was a seed of love, but he did not say, I love you, Gary. I've already heard Jeff Brickman say in a speech to his team, I love you. I think it's real important that you start saying those words to the people you love and care about. But what happened in me was there were words of praise. He validated me. In other words, he made me feel valuable. He accepted me, and I knew I was a part of this team. And this is why athletics matters. And so inside of me, something happened. Now I'm going to talk about time in a minute, but he made me feel welcome and a part. And as I look back, I know I was not a good athlete. I was not very tough. I was not fast, and I was not strong. I know that for a fact. But something changed inside me. And I hope you're getting the idea where I'm going with this, because when you drop a seed into a life, no matter who it is, but you coaches, you know. And you might be tired and angry. You might be upset that kid. And you drop a seed, you have no idea. And so what happened for me is I go 9 years of playing football and 43 years of coaching, and sad for me to say, and so I'm going to try to plant a seed in you that you start doing this before you get to be in your 60s. And I realized, oh my goodness, a coach and a teacher planted a seed in my little 8th grade mind, and something happened over 50 years later. I awakened one thing to that. And so I got a couple of friends here. I'm thinking the time involved here is usually pretty long. I have some regrets. I'm learning to deal with my regrets, but I've had some regrets about not waking up to this. But just suppose you're an elementary PE teacher and coach, and you labor 30 plus years, and I know this person I'm talking about dropped seeds like this all day long, day by day, and I don't know how many seeds have sprouted. I don't know if she knows even about any of those, but it just takes one to make you realize, oh my goodness, this matters. And there's my other word, seed, and you matter. I know another guy sitting right by her who spent his first 8 years in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. I don't know how you do junior high. I don't know how you do elementary. And I think of those 8 years in particular, dropping seeds in those little rascals, and I could use other words, but I won't, because on TV. In those little rascals' lives, and 50 years later, maybe 30, maybe 40, I don't know. But a lot of these coaches, they're young. In fact, they all 5 of them are, or 4 of them, they're really young. And if you would just wake up, and I think they already know, see, because you've listened to them, that you say a word of praise, a word of validation, a word of welcome, a word of I care, you have no idea when that seed will sprout into a plant. I ended up going to college, playing football. I wasn't a starter, got a degree. Guess what I ended up being? A football coach that talks all the time, and a science teacher. Well, when I was a sophomore, still big, still slow, still soft, I walk out of a biology class, and J.D. Williamson takes me aside the last day of school and says, he always said, Mr. Rose, you're the top dog in biology. All I cared about was football, baseball, and see if I could find a girlfriend. That's all I cared about. Well, that seed sprouted. And I got a biology degree, and I taught anatomy, phys, chemistry, biology, and earth science for 21 years. When you drop a seed, it will matter. You matter. Now, I'm going to tell stories. I asked one guy permission to do this. I've told this story to several people individually. And so I told it to I'm going to tell you about 3 people. I'll make it short. One had to do with football. One was in baseball, and one was music. I'll tell you about the first one because it's my favorite one. Mike Goff, I said, Mike, I'll tell you about Lee Cobb. And so when I tell this to someone, I'll say, who's your Lee Cobb? And it took Mike this long. John Tatum, Star Spencer High School. Well, guess how old Mike was? He was a freshman. He was a freshman baseball player. He was a backup. He was skinny and fast and athletic, and he would end up becoming a great baseball player. Well, he's pinch running as a freshman for the best player on the team, right, Mike? And he gets on base. That star guy gets on base, and Mike gets sent in to run. And I don't know if the details all be right, but Mike's on second base, and the next guy up hits a long fly ball to right center, and Mike is hooking, and Coach Tatum is on third base, and he's giving it this. Let's go. You know baseball coaches do. And Mike is running and running hard, and he slides in home base, out. I'm going to demonstrate what Coach Goff did. Coach Tatum said, "Come here, Mike." And Mike told me, he said, "I thought I was done playing baseball at Star Spencer." And so Mike came down the third base line to Coach Tatum. And then he called the whole team out of the dugout. So coaches, I'm going to invite you every now and then, do it in front of the whole team. Do it with non-stars. Do it with a JV player. Do it with a scout team player. And Coach Tatum got that whole team out there. He says, "That's what I want. I want you to do that every time. I want you to run as hard as you can, and you go do what happens." Is that right, Mike? And I'm telling you, Mike Goff was a great baseball player, a great basketball player, never played down a football, and he was a great football coach. Somebody planted a seed in his life. Then I talked to a former player, and I'm telling him the story about this guy that has, I now realize in my 60s that this man in 8th grade has made a tremendous impact on me. And I'm telling this young man about it, and he starts telling me a story. I'm not going to tell you all the story, but he tells me about a coach at Carl Albert, and this kid was, he was mad. He wasn't starting anymore, and he was deliberately being a little horse's butt out there on the football field. And this coach just said, "Get off, just get off." And then on the way in, this coach put his arm around this guy and told him he loved him and why he did that and how important he was to the team. And this kid goes, "Coach Rose, Coach Farley's my Lee Cobb." I said, "Yep, that's the kind of man he is." One more. One of my great friends from 1995 on is Mike Plunkett. And I have lunch with Mike every month, and he was the director of all fine arts at the OSSAA. Some of you should know him. He's a music guy. His brother was a football player and a football coach. Mike was a gifted musician, one of the most brilliant, talented, creative men I've ever been around. And I told him my Lee Cobb story, and he said, "Coach Rose, Ron Staten, Dell City High School was my Lee Cobb." Ron was the longtime, fantastic director of all the vocal music at Dell City High. So what I'm telling you is that all of you, you may have to wait a long time to wake up, and the seeds you're dropping in lives you may never know in this life. Keep dropping them. Once a seed is planted, if good things happen, and by the way, there's a negative side because some seeds don't sprout. But if the seeds are tended by people like you, they will sprout and they will become plants. So you seeds, you sow seeds, they sprout. They reach for the warmth of the sun, they soak up the water. And then here's a couple of scenarios, and my beautiful wife told me, just started suggesting these, and I want you to just listen to these. First of all, you are a plant, and you are dropping seeds into lives of kids and other people, maybe your family, your coworkers, and those seeds, something's going to happen. Sometimes the plant isn't getting enough water. Water it. Maybe it needs full sun. It's only getting half sun. Move it. Cut something down that's blocking the sun. Maybe it needs a windbreak to keep it from blowing down and breaking in the Oklahoma wind. Build it a windbreak. Maybe it needs to be transplanted. Move to a different place, to different soil, better soil. Maybe someone needs to take it into the house and nurture it back to health so it can recover from the bad environment it was in. Sow a seed. Sow a seed of love. Here's the words I want to throw at you. If you don't say I love you, that's fine. You'll learn to someday. Sow a seed of validation. I value you. You're valuable. Sow a seed of acceptance. You belong. I want you here. I don't care if you're an all-star. These 4 guys, they're unbelievable. Everybody wants them. Of course they do. And you should say the same thing to them too. But some of those guys aren't there yet. They need the same thing. Validation, acceptance, care. I care. Grow a plant into a flower, to a tree. That plant will make seeds, and then that plant will start scattering seeds. I'm going to read this poem again. I want you to listen very carefully. Though I do not believe that a plant will spring up where no seed has been, I have great faith in a seed. Coaches, have faith in your seeds. Convince me you have a seed if that seed is love, validation, acceptance, welcome. You have one. Convince me you have a seed, and I'm prepared to expect wonders. Each of you has been a seed. Each of you has had seeds sown in your life. Each of you now is a plant that produces seeds. Go do what makes your heart come alive and sow seeds of love, validation, acceptance, welcome every day. Expect wonders.
Thank you, Coach. It's been an honor that he was able to take the time and be with us with all of his accomplishments. We're certainly glad that he was here this evening. Our next coach nominee is Coach Mike Dunn of Carl Albert. He'll be interviewed by our OSN play-by-play announcer for Carl Albert, Mr. Kirk Norman.
Well, congratulations, Coach Dunn, and I know that you've heard that about 100,000 times in the last few months.
Yeah, it's been a good few months.
Yeah, it has. Okay. Well, I'm going to go a little bit a different way with this, and you know, you graduated from Carl Albert, so you went back to your alma mater in 2021, and you had actually coached there before in 2003. And so you're familiar with the expectations of Carl Albert, and yet you asked for the job. And I know that may sound crazy to some people out there, but it's different. Right. And it's hard to explain, but I'm going to ask you this question. So at the end of all of our broadcasts and everything that I've ever been a part of in regard to Carl Albert athletics, we are considered, or at least that's what our byline is, and I know a lot of other schools have tried to use it, but it's the home of champions. And so you've been there as a player and now as the head coach, and the athletic director. So what does it mean for you now to see Carl Albert as the home of champions?
Well, first, it means a lot. When I was in school, I don't think we were considered the home of champions. At that point, we were fairly new to success, and I'm thinking more along the lines of football. But state championships weren't what they are now then, but we were right on the verge. And so being a part of, I'd say a crew that had a little bit to do with to getting there is really, really special. I would say really when it comes to home of champions, it means family. There's a lot of people in this room tonight that have been affected by Carl Albert and have gone on and done really cool things after their time at Carl Albert. And when you consider home of champions, that's everybody. That's community, that's players, that's coaches, that's families that have been involved in it. And just like Coach Rose said a while ago, there's been a lot of seeds that have been planted. I'm one of those guys. Robert Jones, Jason Madonna. There's guys that have been a part of that and have gotten to see it firsthand from Coach Rose. And now that we're getting to do it, it means a lot. Obviously, when I had the opportunity to step into that role, Kristen Goggins, our principal's here tonight, and her and Andy Collier were two of the people that put their trust into me. It meant a lot, getting to come home and getting to tell the stories and getting to tell my story as a player and then as a coach now, and getting to have that same effect that my coaches had on me now with current Titans has meant the world. So, when you think of home of champions, just like Coach Jones said earlier, success can be defined in a lot of different ways, and set the championships aside. The good that goes on every single day, the support from the different sports to each other. You could look at this past weekend and you could define home of champions with that. We had wrestling going on, regional wrestling. We had state swim going on where our boys and girls were both state runner-ups. And Miss Goggins, she was running back and forth trying to get to all of it. And I feel like that's a lot of what we do at Carl Albert is a lot of different teams supporting each other. It's just a big-time family atmosphere. And I'm really honored and humbled to be in that role, to get to support everybody and lead the football team.
All right, thank you. It just seems like every student, every athlete is a champion in their own way, and that's what we try to build there. So let's go back to the season. The season started off 1-2, and in the first game, Reed DeQuazy goes down first series as a quarterback, and I know it had to feel like there was no air left at Coweta that night, and so you come back, and Cash Ferris comes in. He grabs the team, pulls it through the middle of the season. And I know that this is a really cliche statement, but how do you really get a kid or get several athletes ready, literally, to be next man up?
Well, it's something that you got to preach from day one, and you got to really believe it. And kids hear it all the time. There's kids in here, this room, that have heard that before. And sometimes people say it, but they don't truly mean it. You really have to practice that way. You've got to give kids opportunities to go through adversity during practice, to go through adversity during spring football, through team camp. You've got to give guys the proper opportunity to go through it. And Cash Ferris was more than ready for that opportunity whenever Reed got hurt. That was a big blow to our team because Reed was obviously a really good football player, both sides of the ball. But Cash had put the time in, and we had all the faith in the world in him. And it truly is a next man up program. It's always been that way. We were just joking a while ago, sitting over here with my coaches, and we started out 1-2 in 1999, just like we did this year. And our coaches over here were talking about how we made, after that start, I think they made 8 changes on offense and defense to the starting lineup, and 8 new guys stepped up, and so we really feel that's a necessity where we're at, and we want our guys to be ready. But you know, it goes back into if you're doing the right things in the off season and you expect the same thing from your top guy to your bottom guy. If you expect the same thing and you hold everybody to that same standard, those guys are going to be ready. Whether they're as good of a player or not, maybe not, but they're going to be ready for the moment because you've put them in places to show that and to deal with adversity. And so I think that's really what high school sports is.
All right, next question is, high school athletics are constantly, your athletes are constantly changing. Every 4 years you get a new set of guys. You're not going to, it's not like the pros where you can keep somebody for 6 or 7 years or whatever, however much you can spend. So you've got this cohesive team. It's hard to get that going. We saw that happen in this year with the offensive line in particular. It just seemed like they just got better and better every year. And I believe the same goes for coaching staffs. And here you come in 2 years ago. You've got a staff. You begin to add some people this past year. And how difficult really, and I'm kind of doing this for the other coaches, how difficult really is it to keep the right coaches in the right seat on the bus?
Well, at Carl Albert, it's been very, very easy because those guys have been around for a while. We've got a veteran staff that loves what they do. They love working with the kids. They love the classroom. I've already talked a little bit about Miss Goggins, but our coaches want to stay because their job in the building is really good. We have principals that support them. Our administration is there for them if they need anything, and so that makes it easier. But we added a couple coaches this year, guys that I had coached with before. Kevin Starr was a really big addition for us, helping with our wide receivers this year, and that paid dividends. Coach Matt Looney joined our staff 2 years ago. Whenever I got the job, it was pretty much known that the staff was going to stay and everyone was intact. I think our very first meeting, I looked at all of them and said, hey, I'm here to honor the tradition just like you guys do, and I'll try to add a few along the way, but there's nothing really to change. I mean, it obviously wasn't broke. They just got through winning 5 in a row. So a little bit of pressure there, but the coaches, we added Matt Looney. Matt was with me at Del City and did a great job. And Matt Vineyard, who's a Carl Albert guy, we added him to the staff. And so we've added guys that really fit the mold, guys that I knew would come in and they would work hard and it wouldn't be a job that intimidate them because there's a big expectation there. Our coaches, they work as hard as anybody out there. Just like all these other guys in here, they show up, they put the work in, and there's times where we're not the best team out there on paper, but I feel like our coaches put us in a position to go win games. On Friday nights, that's how I felt as a high school football player. There were plenty of times where we went into games and we were probably a little outgunned man for man, but when you put coaches into the equation, it matters. Just like Coach Rose said a while ago, it matters. And I feel like we've got a really good staff that expect a lot out of our kids and meet them where they're at and try to bring them up to make them better men. And I think that's probably why all these guys are in here right now, because they do the same thing. So I feel like we've got a really good staff that does that.
All right. So I'll give you the same response that I gave to Robert earlier. And everybody likes to brag on great players. So how would you describe X?
Freak. He's just a big time freaky athlete. He's 6'2", 225 pounds, and he can move. I mean, he's a guy that runs a 4.5 40. When you put all that weight and you see him in the weight room, he's a 550-pound squatter. He's a 275-pound power clean guy. There's just nothing that he can't do. A lot of people think that he's kind of just a power back, that he's just going to go out there and run you over. But if you've seen him play, he's patient. He'll wait. He'll find a hole. He'll make you miss, and when he needs to, he'll run you over. He's got a pretty good stiff arm too that you saw in that video earlier. But and he's just as good of a football player as he is. He's even a better young man. And he's got a situation where he doesn't. He doesn't come from a family that has a whole lot, but the family he comes from loves him and supports him and add him into the Carl Albert mix. It's been really big for him. Obviously, been really big for us. but he's an exceptional player, exceptional young man, and just like all these other guys. I mean, obviously, I know Nigel really well, and all these guys are worthy of this award. I've talked to Coach Breeze before, and the first person, we were at a basketball game together, and the first person he talked about was Mr. Amaker back there. And then, obviously, DJ. I'm so glad he's gone. No more playing against DJ. But that guy, he's been doing it and doing it hard for 4 years, and we had battles with him over at Del City, and we've had 2 battles with him over at Carl Albert, and again, exceptional young man, great family. Can't say enough about how awesome this opportunity is to recognize these kids and coaches. This is really cool.
All right, so the last question, didn't put it on the sheet. So you have an interesting situation going on there at Carl Albert. One of your linemen, his dad is your boss. And so, how do you get on him?
He can tell you. I keep him on his toes. I'll tell you that. No, he's great. We never talk about his kid. He's never brought it up. I think he gets uneasy because people talk to him about his kid, and whenever we're as close as we are, and obviously he is my boss, you could think that there's some kind of, I don't even know the word. It's not nepotism because we're not brothers, but that he gets preferential treatment, I guess. But Easton Collier has been an absolute stud for us, and everything that he has done, everything he's been given, he's earned 100%. And Andy's one of the easy parents. He doesn't. He's not a complainer. He doesn't expect anything. He just wants his kid to be a part of a good program and be treated right. And that's what every parent should want from the program and from the kid. Is his kid gets an opportunity and he gets to learn from really good men and gets to be a part of something that's pretty neat and special.
Absolutely. Well, thank you and congratulations on this honor.
Appreciate it.
Mike Dunn from Carl Albert. One little side note from Andy Collier, the last winning quarterback to win a state title at Midwest City. So we got some good genes right there as well. Our next player nominee is D'Angelo Irvin Jr. of Midwest City, 4-year starter. In fact, for those Lawton know that he got his first start as a freshman at Cameron Stadium against Lawton. He'll be interviewed by OSN Midwest City play-by-play announcer Jordan Ray. So as they make their way up to the seats, let's take a look at some of the highlights of DJ.
We'll see what Brandon Lowe, the new Bomber OC, decides to do here. He will throw it now. He's going to step back to throw. Now he'll take off to Irvin. He's going to get some of that yards back. Now Irvin making a lot of it back. Irvin's still going. He's going to get the
He's going to score. He's going to score.
He's going to score. Touchdown, Midwest City.
No flag.
All right, 1st and 10 for Irvin. He's going to keep it, and he's going to go deep again.
He's wide open.
Wide open. It's caught. 40, 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Midwest City. William Broyles.
76 yards.
Irvin
there he
keeps
goes.
it.
There he goes.
He's got room to his right.
He's
and
gone.
He's still going. He's going to run past all the demons. He's exercising demons right now. D'Angelo Irvin, he is on the night. Touchdown, Midwest City. Low snap to DJ. He's got plenty of time. He's going to throw it. Fires deep.
He's open.
Has his man. It is caught. It's Broyles again inside the 20, and he will score.
It's Colston.
Colston with a K. He wears a pink shirt too. I only thought Broyles did. Kenneth Colston with a touchdown, and the Bombers expand their lead once again, 27-18. And
this is going to be a shootout.
It is a shootout.
It's going to come down to the team that runs out of bullets first.
There you go.
All right, here we go. Irvin to pass. Has time.
Oh, he's got a man open.
End zone. Caught. Touchdown! Midwest City!
Unbelievable. Thread of the needle. He had the man beat in the end zone, and what an adjustment and a catch.
I wish y'all could have seen the way Coach K just jumped up in the air. I think he could have dunked it if he had basketball.
That's the defensive coordinator.
What do we say? Big
You said a
Players
lot.
make big plays in big moments, and number 10 just showed his worth. 4-year starter, and it has silenced and stunned the crowd in Elgin that were rattling the rocks in the milk jugs all night long. And what do we say, 18 seconds left to go? And 11 seconds and got it. On a 1st and 20, back at his own 30-yard line.
Yeah. I got to be there for all of them, and so I want to thank you for that. That was a lot of fun. And here we are again. How many times have we done an interview? Have you kept track?
Yeah, quite a few times.
Quite a few times, and welcome back to Lawton, of course. That's like your home away from home, because other than, of course, at Midwest City High School, you've played at Cameron nearby 3 times out of your 4 years here. So a lot of fond memories coming back to Lawton?
Yeah, it's a lot of memories, a lot of great ones. Had some great wins here.
Yes, he went 3-0, so and played well in every game. So and Eric mentioned the first one, and this was back in September of 2019. Hard to believe it's been that long. Do you ever think back to that first start at Lawton High? It was first week of district play. The team was 0-3 at the time, and out of nowhere, at least it was out of nowhere to me, Coach Hall says, "Hey, we're going to start a freshman at quarterback." And that's how your journey began. Do you think back to that start very often?
Not too often, but I do think about it sometimes. And thinking back on it, I really appreciated that Coach Hall and the rest of the staff had the confidence in me to trust me to lead the offense from then on.
And we probably saw some of it on there. But what are some of your favorite memories on the field leading the Bombers?
I'll have to say my most favorite was, the one we just watched, leading the game-winning drive against Elgin, and another one was in the quarterfinals against Booker T. Washington, taking them down. I really enjoyed that.
Yes, that was back when you were a sophomore, and we have some worthy nominees for Coach of the Year. But we actually already have a Coach of the Year here in Coach Terrell Hall, District 8 Coach of the Year, right, Coach? And so we're pleased to have him here with us. And what can you tell us about Coach Hall?
Oh man, Papa Hall. I really enjoyed playing for him for 4 years. He's a player's coach, and everybody loves being around him. And he's somebody that you can communicate with, and you can just kind of, what's the word I'm trying to say? You can kind of, I'm lost. But he's a guy that everybody respects, and everybody will always have respect for, because he's just that type of guy. He'll always be there for you when you need him, and yeah.
And like some of the other players that were nominated, Amaker, to talk about him being a receiver and a defensive back. Same for Nigel Thomas, receiver, defensive back. Well, you actually played some defensive back this year a lot too. And another thing that may not be on the program, you've been the punter the last 3 years. So what's that been like, playing more defense this year? How do you think that's helped you as a player and person?
I think playing defense, it was a lot of fun, but I think it helped a little with my physicality and a little bit with more of my competitive side, having to come down and make tackles sometimes, and, communicating with other guys on defense, mid-play and stuff like that too.
And lost my train of thought there, actually. I know it'll come back to me. So you were also nominated as an academic player, as one of the football players that has, you thrived in the classroom. What does that mean to you? Why do you make academics a priority?
Since day one, my parents have made that a priority for me. They don't play about those grades. And I thank them for that, though, because it's been really beneficial for me in the long run. And, I just always wanted to be one of the smart kids. I've never wanted to be low in my class or anything like that.
I thought you might mention your parents there. All right. And then you had a tough decision to make when it came to your next college. You were committed to the Air Force for a bit, and then you decided to go west, and I mean farther west into to UNLV. And what led to you decide to become a rebel?
You know, they came on me kind of late, but that was because they had some coaching changes kind of late, and you know, it was pretty quick after they all got hired that one of their assistant coaches got a hold of me, and they offered me, and I went out there on a visit, and when I went on the visit, it just felt like a second home. You know, it felt like somewhere I could spend my next 4 years at. All the coaches, you know, they made me feel wanted, and they made me feel like I could be used as a good part and piece of their program.
And I won't ask any questions about Las Vegas, because I know what they say. What happens there stays there, so we'll move along from that. But also, just like I asked Nigel about track, you have a spring sport that you excel in, baseball. I believe you play shortstop and pitcher, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And has that, I mean, you got to throw well on both positions. Does that have any overlap as far as throwing that and throwing a football go?
It's a little different, but it's a lot of similarities as well.
Well, I look forward to watching some of your baseball games. Any chance you might look to play at the college level, or?
That's not something I've discussed with the coaches yet, but I will, and I'd love to if I had the opportunity to.
All right, well, one last question for you, DJ. What does it mean to you to be a Bomber and to be a starting quarterback for 4 years?
It means a lot. I'm really honored to have that title, and looking at the guys that's had it before, the big names, you know, it just feels great to be a part of that group.
All right, DJ, thank you.
Thank you.
D'Angelo Irvin Jr. of Midwest City, 4-year starter at quarterback. Now to the part of the show that I've kept a surprise, or tried my best, as this involves our OSN broadcast crews. They work so hard to get what we want as a good product for the school and for us as a company. It's usually made up of a 4-person crew with a play-by-play announcer, a producer, a camera operator, and many of them are students of our schools. I depend on so much from our play-by-play guys who act as executive producer, and for that, I thank them. So at the end of the year, I asked each of our teams to submit their best 5 minutes of a game from this past year, where I took them and sent them off to be judged by 3 anonymous judges, who they themselves have a long history of experience in broadcasting and especially play-by-play. I wanted them to choose the winner. I stayed out of it. It would be hard for me to decide because narrowing it down to one winner would be a challenge. We decided not to include myself or Jay from the MacArthur team in the voting. And so with that said, it is my pleasure to announce the 2022 OSN play-by-play announcer for 2022, Josh Calloway from Newcastle. We gave up an OU baseball game for this event. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, Eric. Thank you, guys. I'll thank a few people real quick and I'll get out of here. I want to thank my wife, Madeline, who's back there, very supportive. I think she's unofficial member of OSN because she watches every broadcast and she'll text me in, hey, your mic sounds funny or whatever, so she helps all the time. So I want to make sure to get her in there. Thank you, Eric, of course, bringing me into OSN a few years ago, put a lot of faith in me, pretty quickly, so I really appreciate that, of course. Everybody in Newcastle, Coach Brickman, the players, the team, the program. I have no affiliation with Newcastle before, but I feel like a second home now. Everybody's extremely gracious to us over there. And, of course, my team, Uriah Martinez and Carson Wade, both were new this year, did a great job. And, of course, my color man, Billy Collier, who's one of the nicest guys ever and makes it really easy for me. So thank you again, Eric, and appreciate everybody.
To add that, we also included our color analysts as well to be judged separately and not with the same crew. So I'm proud to announce that the 2022 OSN Color Analyst of the Year is Vincent Saylor from Elgin. Sorry, I put you in the back.
Thanks, Eric. Yeah, completely unexpected. But I want to thank you, Eric, for allowing me to do this. Sports has kind of always been my life, but then got out of it to do the insurance thing, I guess you could say. So this allows me the opportunity to kind of stay in touch with the sports world on Friday nights. I want to thank my wife. Obviously, she's not here tonight. She's taking care of our 2 little girls, but it's a commitment for her during the football season because we're gone every Friday. But she does a great job and allows me to do it. Definitely want to thank everyone in Elgin. This is my first year with Elgin. Well, second year, first year back. And obviously with the year that we had, it made it a ton of fun. And I want to thank the coaches. I see Coach Wyatt right there, Coach Castro, for allowing us to kind of be a part of it so that way we can give the best broadcast we can. I want to thank my team that was with us this year. Probably have some new ones next year, but we'll work on that and keep the same broadcast going. So, again, thank you, and go Owls.
Thank you. Fourth and final coach nominee is Chalmer Wyatt of Elgin, and he will be interviewed by Vincent Saylor. So, Vincent, you got to stay up here and do double duty.
Where's DJ at? You hurt me, man.
Yeah, that was, yeah. I mean, I'm glad that Eric played their version of that that call because it was not all butterflies and unicorns on the Elgin broadcast for that one. One of the hardest things is to keep a straight face during some of those things and not say what you really want to say. But Coach Wyatt, what can we say, man, about this year? Moving up from 4A, obviously, had some detractors. Obviously, the last couple of years hasn't gone the way that we would like it to have gone. Moving up to 5A, kind of people doubted us, and then rallied off 8-2, finished second in the district. Kind of take us through the year and kind of what led to kind of the resurgence.
It's really it really goes back before this year. Really, when I got there in 2019. It was just a process. It really was. You know, you look at our sophomores who just finished this season. They were 7th graders when I got there. So I got to watch them play every middle school game, every 7th grade, 8th grade, and then so forth and so on. And it's just you know, I feel like that's what it's took to get to this point. You know, and we try to be so consistent in everything we do. And I think that, you know, just year after year of that, and being youthful the last couple years has really helped. So that really kind of led into the success we had this season. And you know, yeah, there was a lot of challenges. There was, you know, new opponents, you know, everything. So, but I think the consistency that we've had since we've been there since 2019, you know, the foundation, those kinds of things, and just being true to what we do day in, day out, even when it was hard. I think that really contributed and really gave us a good basis as we started this season, and the success kind of, you know, piled on, and, you know, had a great year, you know, really proud of everybody.
Yeah, no, it was a great year, no doubt about that, and got to hang out with you guys some during the season, and kind of talk to me a little bit about your coaching staff and kind of how much they mean to you, because I know you guys are a close group, and kind of it seems like y'all are kind of on the same wavelength a lot of times. So take me through that coaching staff and kind of what they mean to you and how they contributed to the success of the season.
Yeah, I can't say enough about them. I can't do what I do without them. And a lot of people say that, but it's the truth. You know, Coach Castro's here tonight. He came with me when I got the job and been very instrumental to our success. on the offensive side of the ball and as a program overall. Jack Baker, Lance Hill, Warren Forsythe, Brandon Langford, Cody Rao, all those guys, and something that does help is we're youthful, and I think that, when we share some things outside of football, I think that can kind of bounce back into the football world and, provide some good ideas and good things back and forth and just good camaraderie. We are a tight-knit staff, and, that's something that I wanted to do when I got there. I wanted to, build that culture where, people, we were tight, and, golly, we're about to have a bunch of babies in the field house now, so, hopefully all those kids grow up together and, do all those kinds of cool things. So, but I always say that, those guys, they coach different than I do. Our team doesn't need to hear it from me all the time. They need to hear it from those guys. They're professionals. They're really good at what they do, so you need to use that, and I think that that's something that I've been able to kind of really kind of lean on as I kind of got, this thing, trying to get it figured out.
So I've also seen in the back we've got Principal Laura and Superintendent Mraz, and looks like AD Hitt is also back there. So kind of talk about how those guys, kind of being ex-coaches in the administration, things like that, are able to help rally the team and kind of get you where you need to go as a coaching staff and things.
Yeah, it's been really instrumental. Coach Laura was my head football coach when I was in high school. Coach Hitt coached me. Mr. Mraz coached me. And that's really, they talk about when you take a job, what's admin like? Well, there you go. They're all my former coaches. It means a lot to me. I know those guys. I think they have a good feel for me, and they take care of us so well at Elgin football and our athletics overall. It's just what it takes, really, Coach Dunn talked about it a little bit earlier, and I think that's what you see in good programs, that there's just that alignment from the top to bottom, and, we got it at Elgin. I think that throughout our whole athletics right now, wrestling, everybody else is really having some success, and I think it just goes back to kind of tying all those things in together, and it starts at the top, and it kind of trickles down throughout your coaching staff and everybody else. So it's really fun right now, and really, really excited to be there.
So as an Elgin alum, obviously, what does it mean to you personally that now kind of got back on the map, got things going in the direction that we want them to go in, and kind of getting things back on the winning side?
It means a lot, coming back home, there's, a little pressure, coming back to your hometown. I never really viewed it that way. Just viewed it as a good opportunity. And the season we had, and people around town, reaching out to congratulate us and this, that, and the other, just the improvement. That's what means a lot, is that you're making an impact on people that played in 1980 when we started football, and the list goes on and on. Like you should come to our run out tunnel, and it's just guys from 95 to 2000 just wishing they could put it on one more time. And that's just kind of the support that we have, and it's really, really special to me, but really just want to, do it for people like that, because it means a lot to them, and it sure means a lot to me.
Coach, take us through kind of what your most memorable time of the season was this year.
I had El Reno circled. That was, first district game. Really to figure out kind of where we were, who we were, and those kinds of things. Win that ball game, and you really think, okay, all right. You feel like you're in a good spot there because it was all new to us. We didn't know. I was at Noble 1 year in 5A. How would we compute? Now being up to that class anyway. And then I think really the turning point, and a really big moment for us is when we beat Ardmore at home. That kind of really let us know, like, okay, I think we could play some football at this level. And so that and the ins and outs of the season, the whole season was just really cool. Really cool. And I think that I can look back now and really appreciate that, and really feel accomplished, because it was 2 years ago, and I'll own this all the time. In 2020 we were 0-8, and I always say that I think you learn more at the bottom than you do at the top. And so we took a lot of things from that season, and just try to still be consistent through all the tough things that went on that season into 2021, build a little bit, and then into 5A, and really to get that feeling of we can play some football at this level. That was a really cool moment for me.
So I guess the last question I've got, obviously, we return a ton of starters next year. Obviously, most of the kids on the team were freshmen and sophomores. Last year, they were kind of the hunter. They were the new kids on the block in 5A, coming up from 4A. So what is the difference this year, going into potentially this year? Now you're kind of the hunted. You finished second with that last-second throw there by DJ. So can finish in second in the district. So now, all of a sudden, you're now the hunted. So what's the difference in mind frame there, and kind of what are you going to teach the kids in the off season to kind of work towards getting a little bit better and finishing this thing off right?
Yeah, I really think it's a lot of the same for us. You know, the consistency and what we've kind of established as a program and who we are, what we do. But, you know, and you coaches and people who understand that kids are smart, you know, that they understand those things. So there's probably a sense of, you know, last year here was our goals. You know, now, okay, you want to play here, then we have to change things. You know, if you want to do something you've never done before, you got to prepare like you never have. So, you know, I just think that adding, you know, elements to what we have already kind of started, that's a good starting point for us going into next year. And I just think that's where we are as a program, what we need to do.
Coach, congratulations on the nomination. Congratulations on the win tonight as the fan vote. And congratulations on a great season, and looking forward to the next couple.
Congratulations to you.
Thanks.
Chalmer Wyatt, head coach of Elgin. Our final player nominee, unfortunately, is not here. Had some last-minute things that changed in his schedule, but it's Xavier Robinson of Carl Albert, who had a record-setting year at running back, breaking a 25-year standing record. And to say that came from Carl Albert, that's pretty special. And just a junior, the only one on stage that you can say that is a junior of all of these. So look out, Class 5A, he's coming back next year. So before we conclude that, and Billy will have a couple of things to talk about his stats, let's look at Xavier's highlights for 2022.
Xavier Robinson in the backfield, 2 men to the left. Going to hand off to Robinson around that left side. He cuts up, and then he goes up to the 10, it's 15, 20. He's going to get across the 25, 30, 35, 40. He stays in. He stiff arms a man. He's going to stay inbounds and get all the way down to the 32-yard line in Eagle territory. Great job there.
He carried 2 of them for about 12 yards.
Robinson in the backfield. Ferris takes the snap, turns around, hands it to Robinson. He's going to go across that left side. 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Carl Albert. 1-man split wide to the right, 2 to the left. Xavier Robinson in the backfield. DeQuasy's going to take the ball, moves over here to the left side, pitch back to Robinson. He's got some room. He jumps over a man at the 30. He pushes down to the 40, down to the 44-yard line. This time it's going to be a handoff to Robinson. He cuts back. He's got a little open room across the 40, the 50, down to the 45. He's stiff arms. He's going all the way. Touchdown, Carl Albert. No flags. No flags. Double tight end set. Going to hand off there to Xavier Robinson. He's going to cut around the outside. He's across the 35, the 30, 25, 20. He's going to go all the way. Touchdown, Carl Albert Titan. DeQuasy takes the snap. He hands off there to Xavier Robinson. He goes right up the middle. He cuts to the outside. He's gone, brother. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Carl Albert. 2 plays, 2 handoffs, 2 touchdowns.
And he's got 100 yards.
He's going to move it over here to that right side. Pitches out there to Xavier Robinson. He's got the first down, and he cuts up field. He's hard to bring down. That's a man among men down to the 20-yard line.
He's just fun to watch.
He is. This time DeQuasy takes it. He hands it off right in the middle there to Robinson. Robinson cuts to the outside. Touchdown. He gets to the 15, 10, 5. He's pounding. Touchdown, Carl Albert.
He's hard to bring down, boys.
Yes, he is.
Until the second quarter, 180 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, caught a touchdown pass. Oh, and by the way, threw a touchdown pass as well. So when you talk about a freak, that is certainly Xavier Robinson, who, again, couldn't be here tonight, but let's give him a round of applause anyway. And before we hand it over for the final awards, I want to mention a couple of things. A certain group of people that are already mentioned tonight by Eric and Josh and Vincent a little bit. The play-by-play guys, the color guys, we get to do all the really fun stuff. Those guys that are up there on the top of the booth, those cameramen who often are young high school kids, and those producers who have to keep up with us, let's give them a round of applause too. And then finally, stand up, Eric. I want you to stand up for a second. When I got to Lawton in 2019, Eric found out that I've done some play-by-play stuff in the past. Graduated from Conoway, Oklahoma. Also a graduate of East Central University, Coach Rose. Go Tigers. And Eric found out that I was somebody who's had some career, in that in the past, and asked me if I wanted to do that. And being a guy who was really big into sports, not having a team, I'm from the other side of the state, being here, he put me in right away, got to see Newcastle, got to have a relationship with Coach Brickman, a special relationship with him and the racer program over there. Still appreciate all those people there. And then got to build relationships at Cash, Farron Griffin, a great friend of mine. And also all of these other broadcasters, play-by-play guys, color guys, all the producers and cameramen. Got to have all these relationships, and I would tell you, if it wasn't for Mr. Eric Sharam, I wouldn't have that. So let's give him a round of applause.
Well, now for the moment to announce the why we're here, the finality of the night. Our winners for both Coach and Player of the Year. You pick one. And when you went and listened to every single one and said, you're a winner, you're the winner, you're the winner, we needed some help. There is no way that we were going to take that challenge on ourselves, and I knew that. So how we have decided to do this, with the first year coach having his team move up to 5A from 4A, finishing second in the district, and a loss with a last second to a touchdown to a second-year coach who moved from the city rival to win a state title, coach who lost in 2 overtimes in close matches against 2 great teams in the state. And for a coach who keeps building on the success of his program in Newcastle, to the players who will all advance to the next level playing college football somewhere, to the records, to state championships, to district championships, your accomplishments will always be remembered fondly. Why we love what we do and following your success. So will all 4 player nominees, please, or the 3, join me on the stage at this time. What I want to do is the next one to show the discrepancy of how we chose. Yeah, that's it. I want you to see how we came to this selection process. I had an independent panel of 5-person anonymous panel, one with a Hall of Fame coach, one with a long legacy of coaching. I also had the OSN staff. I had one coach, a current head coach that did not play or coach against any of these nominees. And then finally, we had the fan vote. As you can see, the 35% went the highest with our panel, 30% to OSN, 25% to the one individual coach currently coaching, and the 10% for the fan vote. Now, first off, I've got this to hand off to every single one because I wish that I could give you all the trophies. That's Xavier's, so. D'Angelo. Tyron. And Nigel. This has been sealed. I got to do it the old-fashioned way, right? It's my pleasure to announce the 2022 OSN Player of the Year, D'Angelo Irvin Jr. from Midwest City.
First, I would like to thank God for each and every blessing that He's given to me. And next, obviously, my parents, Dad. Thank you for being at every event, practice, game that you possibly could. Thank you for pushing me every day to be the best that I can be. Mom, thank you for keeping me in check as well. Scrolling through Power School, every time you see a grade that might not be what it should be, asking me what the heck I got going on. Coach Hall, once again, thank you for being by my side. Thank you for having that trust in me that you always had, even when I was $130 as a freshman. And some guys that aren't here, Coach Randon Lowe, I want to thank him. He's the guy that drew up all those plays that you saw in the highlights. I want to thank Coach Rod Richardson. When I was a younger guy, he kind of took me under the wing, helped me out a lot, helped me grow as a player. And the city of Midwest City, I would love to thank them for all the support that they've given me in these last 4 years and any support that they'll give me going forward.
Thank you, gentlemen. If I could have all the coaches, please make their way up to the stage, please. Same goes for you guys. And I wanted to, and I know Coach Hall is here, and I said the selection committee comes down and their determination, and he won, the district coach of the year, and that was a fine accomplishment, and I'm glad that we brought that up. I wish we could have 5. Maybe next year we'll expand on there because we have so many talented coaches and men. Mike, here's yours. You're welcome. Chalmer. Yeah, you can pass that down here. It's okay. There you go. There's Robert. Yep, and then if you'll hand that to Mr. Brickman. Okay. And I've got one final video to end, and that will be the end of the night, but this is the fun part. Same criteria follows with the selection committee. It's my pleasure to announce the 2022 OSN Coach of the Year, Chalmer Wyatt of Elgin.
Thank you. Wow, appreciate Eric and all you guys do at OSN. This is really, really cool. I think that, how many schools do we have in it now? 11. That's amazing just for the platform that you guys are doing and building, and it's for our kids and everything that they do. So OSN, thank you guys. Personally, my wife sitting right in front of me, Elizabeth, thank you for all your support. It's not easy doing what I do, and you know that. My family, thank you guys. Our administration, thank you. And just hats off to everybody that's here tonight. We're all here for high school football, and I think it's one of the purest forms of high school sports. And from Coach Rose speaking on the things of seeds and what we can do with the platform we have, it's really, really special. And if you really dig into it and try to do things right and just work hard, I think that a lot of that, you can change a lot of lives. With that being said, I appreciate Eric and all you guys, and thank you.
One final thing for me, again, I want to thank so many that helped this night. Coach Rose, incredible, and I knew that, what we were getting when you came tonight, and some positive things that we can all reflect on. And for all of you making the commitment to come, some coming from Oklahoma City, from Newcastle, from UConn, from Altus, to come to Lawton, and I know that took out of your time, and I appreciate that. Again, it's all to you that helped this night be possible. I also want to thank Danny Carson, who made our program tonight. Let's give her a round of applause. She put a lot of hard work in that program. To Kason Troutman, who's been photographing, and he does our TikToks, If you don't know what TikTok is, follow us. You'll get to see all the fun, exciting things that we do. For Adam Gutierrez, for the photography that he's supplied for our program. Thank each of you for a wonderful 2022. But I don't want to leave quite yet. One final thing, since that's all we do is video. To close out the show, I want to leave you with some of the images of the game that excites us about Friday nights, and I can't wait to start it back up again. Summer seems too long. Talk to many of you in your summertime programs, and you're getting ready for the next season. The sights and sounds of Friday Night Football in a video recap. Congratulations to all our winners. Enjoy your night. Thank you for coming. Here's to 2022. Let's end it in a big way.